Welcome to Stars Podcast, your growth mindset mecca. We are all about self-leadership principles here at Stars Podcast. Our guests come from all over the world with very unique stories of how they hack their way into success. As you'll quickly find out, nothing happens overnight. And as always, enjoy the journey. This episode is brought to you by NF Daddy's NFT Project. We are 5 dads with a shared why, a passion to help others safely enjoy the NFT and crypto space just as we all have. This project symbolizes how hard work and collaboration can achieve a dream. The NF Daddies team is focused on the mental and physical well-being of our community while promoting NFT and crypto literacy through the NF Daddies Academy. Our mission is to help launch 100 NFT projects and onboard 1,000 of our friends. That's right, 100 projects, 1,000 friends into the NFT space. Check us out, nfdaddies.io, and you can find us on all of our socials at nfdaddiesnft. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Ron Jordan coming at you at Rocinante Studios in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Today we have a guest coming on our show from across the globe. He is the founder of Quizzy Edtech. He's creating content for Edtech. I found him on Twitter, and he is a fellow V-friend, and he has quite the story to tell us about sort of the ins and outs about education in this area, as well as across other platforms as well. So welcome to the show, Hiran. Good to see you.
Glad being over here as well. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. Just looking forward to, have a fiery conversation over here. And thanks. It was such a lovely introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, whenever I saw you on Twitter, and what you were doing was you were sharing a post about education, and it was really just the beginning of what you guys have to offer with the education side. However, to back up just a hair, I'd love to understand just sort of how you got into the space of creating content and being able to even perform and offer such a fabulous platform.
Right. So we have to backtrack to 5 years back. When, of course, I think my entrepreneurial, whatever it has been, it's due to Gary Vee. So I was this 15-year-old kid who wanted to do something different. And that's when, I heard a lot of Gary Vee I think way back in 2015, 16. So first started with freelancing, normal. I think it's one way out from this side of the globe, at least, to get something, because, in India, you won't see a 15 or 16-year-old working at McDonald's a lot. You can everything's pretty, because it's a very school oriented country over here. You are supposed to be at school till the time you graduate from your school, which is like 18 to 20. And then of course have your college and all. So the only way out to get some bucks in was just, go and freelance. So I started freelancing, started doing random things like writing posts, because writing posts as in content articles. So I was doing it in different genres. I didn't really care much about the genre, and something I was good at during, I am a chess player. I'm a federated chess player. I've been playing across India in different tournaments since I was 12. So first way I started was I used to provide coaching, chess tuitions to beginners. So that's how I made my, I still remember I used to charge something like $10 an hour 5 years back. And that was the first $10, that would suffice for my internet. And from there, when I heard Gary Vee, he was more into, scaling things up a bit at that point of time. I felt, I think I can take things up from here, because, that hunger from his lemonade stand story, it hit me a lot. So from there, I was like, okay, what can I do better? Then I went into content writing articles that I was talking about. From there, this one big company came in 2017. And this company actually provided me this opportunity that, okay, we have this much, the work you're doing is amazing, but we need more work from you if you can provide, because you are in school. And it was an educational site. So, being from school, understanding things from a student's perspective, I had the leverage, because, okay, I was the exact person who can understand other students feeling better, because I was a student back then. So then I just started bringing on my friends, and, get some content created. So first it started with some 2 or 3 friends, and then I thought, okay, no, I can get this a step further. So at that point of time in 2018 was the time when Quizzy as a form, not like Quizzy as an entity, it was there. because then I was just, getting people from colleges because they are better than students at schools. They have gone through everything, the education in schools that they needed to. So connecting with them, building up firstly, building a platform for the students. And then of course, now we are hiring through portals all across India. And yeah, like we have worked with pretty much everyone in the Indian edtech industry. I think none are left, maybe one or two, but yeah, pretty much everyone in the Indian space. I can even give you names, but yeah, like once we start, we will, I guess, go across it. So it started from a basic kind of a freelancing to building an agency by just, bringing on more people. And yeah, I was good at it.
Yeah, that's incredible. So from 12 years old, you started as a chess tutor, creating content as a chess tutor, correct?
Yeah, I created content.
So
I did.
from there, you learned how to scale at that point too. So you understood that there was like a bottleneck, which was you. Like you can only produce so much. And you said that you were listening to Gary Vee, but were there other people that you were listening to as well for scalability, for business sense? Like what were you digesting in your media diet that was allowing you to move forward as fast as you did? Because some people may not think that 5 years is fast for this, but you went within 2 years, about a year, almost a year and a half, because you said 2017 you had a large company come in and pretty much pick you up and say, I need more work. How were you able to scale so fast, and how did you learn so quickly?
Okay, so I guess it's double questions out there. First is, yeah, like starting from 12, like who did I listen to? So the thing is that what I actually was lacking at that point of time was maturity. I had that hunger in me, but I did not have the maturity enough. And I think that's all right. I think I should not judge myself. Like I'm very proud of who I was 8 years back. And the only thing that I had in me was hunger to build more. So the thing is that I failed a lot. Okay. I mean, it did not, like, there are a lot of things that did not work. I wanted to start a drop shipping business that did not work back when I was 15, 16, because, okay, I did not have a good graphics designer. And then because, yeah, I was giving myself a lot of, I didn't want to do it. Like that's the end point. But yeah, I mean, I was not really listening or, consuming a lot of business books then. I was not. I was just trying to be, so this first company that picked me up, the thing is, I worked with them since 2017, but I did not really scale up that much between 2017 and 18. This one person, the person who was managing from the company side, he told that, see, I got in through Upwork. It's I think a very known freelancing platform. So like this person told me that, you have this opportunity. What you can do is just what you are doing, just tell it to a friend. So, I mean, I had a very good mentor in my client, my first client, which actually helped me, like who actually helped me, get through it. And money did not really, like money was a thing that started, but I just loved doing what I was doing back then, for which I guess I could scale up like later on as well. And yeah, I would just give all my thanks to the person who actually, hired me, because that person told me like, what are the things that I can do? Even that did not struck my mind, like scaling up. Like, as you said, even doing this, maybe, if I am getting paid $10 for an hour, I'm selling my time, and I should not be a person who should be selling my time to, if I want to scale up later on. So that's what I understood from this person, who was at this company, who hired me basically. And yeah, right now he's really top at his company. Like he has been managing operations in Indian market for his company for 5 years, more than that now. So yeah, he was a person. I did not really consume a lot of books back then. The second question that you had is, yeah, how did I scale fast? I think I did give an answer over there. That is, I really did not care about the money when it started. Because I didn't know what can I do. I just needed money to, get my internet. That's it. I had certain problems back at home that time, because, in India, you are supposed to study when you're in 8th, 9th grade, because, like I come from a very like humble family as well. So you need to make your own living. There's a lot of competition out there in India. So I was looked down upon a bit. My mother, I just gave everything to my mother. Like, I mean, she has been the pillar of why I could do it. But then still there were issues back at home. So I just needed to, first show them that, what I can earn so that I can do things on my own. that was a very big thing. So my motivation was to prove a bit to my parents. So Gary Vee made this video some days back that, you know, there are this international community where, you know, you want to prove to your parents, but there is a reason for that. That is, if you do not, then you will be forced to, you know, study, because that is the way out. You cannot do a lot of things other than that today. Of course, I mean, India is a diverse country. We have 1 billion people over here. There are different people with different mindsets. But if I talk about the majority, it's pretty much like that, because you need to sustain. So my motivation was that, okay, I have to sustain. I need to make a bit of money to just pay for my internet and do what I'm doing. And later on, when this saw that, see, no parent really, like, my parents love me. So when they saw that, okay, I mean, they did not even ask for anything from me. Like, they just saw that, okay, now I'm on my feet. So they appreciated at that point of time. That became a morally, it boosted me a lot. So I think that's how I scaled up. And yeah, I mean, it was just a sudden thought that, okay, I am helping this particular company, like, coming to the technicalities, I'm helping this particular company, and all the, like, in EdTech, 2018 to 2020, it has been a boom for every EdTech company in India. Like, you will be seeing EdTech companies in India. They're bigger than most other sectors over here in terms of the way they have been getting funds since 2020. This year has been not been a great year for EdTech. But till 2020, it was great. So funds were coming in. Now they needed content for EdTech. So all these new startups, new platforms are coming in. They did not have an in-house team and all that. And I did not have an understanding of all this. I just thought very simple that if I'm helping this particular company who is in the sector, can I help other companies who are doing the same thing? Pretty much I will be doing the same thing for the other company as well. And yeah, I just reached out, I just showed up, and they told, yes, you can do it. And the quality of work was good. So when I got that first 1, 2 to 3 companies, it just made complete sense that what I was doing. And then, of course, the biggest scale up was in last year when I did a bit of branding on LinkedIn. And I managed to land ByteDance, which is the most valued startup in the world. So ByteDance was starting the Indian operations in one of their edtechs, which they're working on. I cannot give more details because of an NDA. But yeah, so I managed to land them, and they, like, I got so good. Like, the thing is that my age also works as a very good factor for me, because all of my clients want to mentor me. And I love to learn from all of them. So it's like I learned so much from them, and they have been like 3, 4, 5 people I can mention who have been like great teachers to me, and they helped me a lot. Like, what can you do well? Where can your team grow? So I mean, all these people, especially my clients, helped a lot for me to grow. And other than that, my hunger and my motivation to sustain and a bit of proving to parents, all this came together, and that's how it actually happened.
What was that freelancer platform that you talked about that you were discovered on?
2017 Upwork.
Upwork.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one sister. Yeah.
One sister. What did she say about all of this with your is she following your footsteps? Did she kind of was like, what the heck are you doing? How was that?
So, I mean, it's a lot of pressure that, see, again, I think this is India. So a lot of things are there. So in school, she used to listen a lot because we are in the same school. Now I'm in college, but we are from the same school. So she used to listen all this from teachers that be like your brother and a lot. So she got a lot of pressure early on. Like everyone, I cannot expect everyone to be like me. But the thing is that we can, what to say? I'm not getting the correct word, but she has a lot of skills in the world of, art. And like, she's a very good artist. She makes a lot of good art. And the thing is that what she's doing is exactly what everyone should do. That is following her passion at this early stage. And that's what she's doing. So following footsteps, as in, I think I cannot really say it for her, but yeah, I mean, she gets that certain things, like, how she's doing certain things different, that if I wouldn't have been there, she would have done a lot of things different. Like, my parents also have been a bit lighter to her because they already have a proof in their home that, okay, no, I mean, things can happen differently as well. So she's a very good artist. I think I can give you her Instagram later on as well. So sure. She's just following her passion. And even I think she has landed some internships. She's doing some internships early on. So I would say at her age, she's doing incredibly well. And I think age shouldn't be a factor. It can take 25 years for someone, 35 years for someone. It's completely different clock for everyone. But she has a very good mindset for sure. I know that. And that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of being her brother, and she understands everything. And the best part is that, yeah, our skills complement each other a lot. So yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic. So let's dive into Quizzy EdTech. What is Quizzy EdTech, and what is it? You tell me.
Right. So 2017, we had this team, right? This team of writers, content writers, and we wanted to provide content to this particular platform. I can name Brainly. They are one of the biggest edtechs out there today. And like we, as Quizzy, when we formed the entity, we started as a services agency, which could create content at scale specific to the edtech industry only. So that's how we started. And then of course becoming that platform, getting people on board from all across all these hiring platforms, getting all this quality control on board to filter out the best educators who can be there. Because the thing is that we have a lot of responsibility as we have worked with a lot of people. I would say majority of the techs out there in India, our content is widely being consumed by all the budding people, like all the budding students. So yeah, I mean, in a crisp, we are just a services agency, content service agency servicing the tech industry. But other than that, I mean, it's a part of a big responsibility where we have to be very good with the content, because a lot of it is on our shoulder. Because when we talk about education, it's yes, 50% of it, I would say, or less, a bit less than that, is in the content. Like, what are you teaching? That matters. And more than that, yeah, like how is the educator, is he or she teaching all right? So yeah, that's what we have been since 2017-18.
So you say 50% is what the content, what you were teaching. What do you think makes for good content?
Okay. So being in the edtech, like, so in India, again, we miss a lot around what a good content should be. Like, we are more around syllabuses and all. So a good content in terms of, like, so every company that we have worked with have different quality guidelines. But if I have to bring all of them together, a good content would be very simple. So the language, the form of content should be very simple first, that even a fifth grader can understand it, or even a first grader. Other than that, I would say it should be something that even if I am not a teacher, I should be able to, let's say, study it, consume it, and I should understand it so well that I can teach you that. So what essentially makes it is that brings the scalability factor. Or not, if a content is not well structured, not everybody who has good domain knowledge will be able to teach better. So we won't have better teachers. Better teachers would only come if you are a good student, if you're a better student, if you learn it. So a content should be that well explained that when you understand it, when you get the grasp of it, anyone would be able, like, at least anyone, that's what I mean, even a fifth grader should be able to understand it so well that he or she can understand. Because if you understand, you can teach. And a lot of people can't. A lot of people are amazing teachers. That's a part of their trait. But we can have a lot more teachers, because we don't understand that we are learning all the time. And even if we are not in our schools, we have teachers in our friends. We have teachers everywhere. Even from our juniors, we learn. From everyone, we learn. So it's all about understanding, I would say, good form content. And of course, I mean, when you take the genre out and all that things, I think I'm not the best person to tell what a good content is. But yeah, that's what I have widely seen. That if you have a content that is well structured and someone can explain it easily because that person can understand it well, it's a good content.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. And that's something that I try and, just with the space that we're in the NFT and crypto world, is there are a lot of complicated terms. So I try and find a lot of similarities in our day-to-day lives, like such as like buying coffee or going to the movies, and just different things like that people can connect with. I like to live, whenever I'm educating, I like to live in parallels, where you can say that this sort of ambiguous thing that I'm trying to learn is very similar to this other thing that I already know. So bridging that gap is very simple for
Yep.
most people. And like you said, and I've never thought about this, but it is sort of the way that I try and do things is I try and explain it to a point where it's just enough information. Stephen Pressfield, he talks about this all the time. He's an author. He does a lot of work around warrior mindset and warriors and just in general, like previous leaders of large communities and large populations. And what they always come back to is that simplicity of the message and being able to, like you said, scale it in a way that I had just never thought about, because that is exactly what you're trying to do, isn't it? It's just trying to be able to create more teachers so your education material ends up becoming something that a lot of people can consume easily.
100% on that. Yep. And when you mentioned about like how it should be, I think you mentioned this one point where you are trying to explain it like using examples. That's the best way, because I think not like we always know something, and this is how new knowledge we get. That is, you always know something, and with reference to that, you learn the new thing. It never happens. You cannot, like, the terms need to be something that you know already, else you cannot learn a new thing. So always it has to be that way. So yeah, bang on that.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It kind of makes me smile a little bit that I'm doing something right.
You
So with all the competition that's out there, and you're banging away on the keyboard, you're doing all of that, you're going to school. How do you find the balance to do it all?
Yeah, so I believe, and that's, I guess this would be a very controversial part of things. So, okay, I'm in my college, I guess you mentioned it is high school only, I guess, in your country. So yeah, balancing during my school days, it was a bit difficult. So my attendance in school, it dropped a lot. I didn't really go to a school a lot, but even yeah, so that was one. I just didn't go to school that much. I had a good enough, I would, yeah, this would be kind of a self boast, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really need that much time to learn a lot. And I preferred to study particular subjects to go through my exams. And that's what I used to do. But other than that, yeah, the controversial part of it is like when COVID happened, okay, 2020, that's when I grew like many folds, because my school ended at that point of time. My college was about to start. So there was a lot of time where I just could be, focused at this. And focus, I believe, is everything when you're trying to scale. And yeah, that helped me a lot. Even I got access of all these students. Like everyone was looking for work back in April, May, and in India it was a very different scenario. Like jobs, people were losing jobs. I think yeah, it happened in US as well. But people were losing jobs left, right, center. So a lot of people were there. So even human resources were available, and I had that much time. But other than that, balancing it just happens in that way, and you can't really balance. It's hard. You have to compromise, and yeah, it depends when you compromise on what. And that's why you need to set small goals. That is, today what I want to do, and yeah, that essentially works. So the only thing that I did not do that much is trying to keep a lot of things together in one day, though I had to do a lot of things, because in schools you have to be mandatorily doing a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, I just did not. I kept that, okay, I'm going to do this one particular thing, and other than that I won't. But in 2018 it was very difficult for me, because everything I had to start, I mean, building that first team. I still remember I had to conduct all these entry rounds where people did not know me. I didn't have a beard back then, like a good beard back then. Like right now also I don't. So people, like, I got all these comments that, you know what, you don't even have a good beard. How can you start a company? Things like that used to come in. So that first
Wow.
management building, yeah, I heard all of this. So that first management building was very hard. I just grinded. I think I worked a lot. I think 15, 16, 18 hours as well. Like certain times it used to, didn't really keep a track of how long I'm working, because I had that desperation, I would say, in me, not a motivation as well, like a desperation to, to build something. And in that case, my grades, it did drop in 12th, it did. But when it mattered, I did well enough to get into a proper college, and I'm happy. I'm happy how it is going.
Yeah,
Still
and
now
that's isn't
balanced.
that the best part of it is there is no balance. You know, there's no ability to balance. It is when you're building something like that, a lot of other things have to fall off. It's just how it is. And it ends up coming back to, what are you dedicated to? And I come back to that quite a bit, is what are you dedicated to? And it seems like you were strictly dedicated to building out what you wanted, because you wanted a different way of life. You didn't want to do uh the I guess you didn't want to fully invest in the schooling part. However, the schooling part ended up coming easy to you, and then funny enough, you end up becoming a part of the education platforms anyhow, in a bigger meaningful way, because you almost looked at it and said, this could be way better. And I
Yeah.
want to I want to understand when that flip or that switch sort of went off in your head and you said, I can do this better.
Every day, but the problem is market doesn't work that way, and the market is a market is a market, like that's the thing. And this was the most I think, yeah, I mean, I felt it that way as well. That is, I know I'm not going to read the content that I'm creating at like at Quizzy. I know that. And the thing is that I cannot even go ahead and create something different, because companies are not, because I'm a B2B company, so I have to follow two companies who are creating that content, and they even know that, okay, this content is not good enough, but they have to do it because what, in like over here, at least I think this is a difference. Like, there's a difference in Indian edtechs and worldwide a bit, at least. That is, over here syllabus is prioritized and marks that 95% out of 100 or 97, there is a competition. People, like over here, students commit suicides just for not getting that 2 marks more, and that's so sad about this education phase over here. So I'm like, at the point I felt like, okay, am I cheating my friends in any way? Because see, at the end of the day, the money that is coming, it's tunneled by all these parents' hard money that they're getting. Like, it's parents investing lakhs of rupees, or thousands of dollars, I can say, where even they know that 99% of them are not going to do. 99% of them don't get, like, if I'm talking about an exam like IIT JEE, which is like a very very big exam in India after 12th, 99% people don't get in, but they go to different cities. They go and learn in different cities so that they're not distracted, and they just sacrifice a lot of their life that they shouldn't, for something which isn't even the proper way of learning. Like, we are not seeing a lot of people getting Nobel prizes from India because there's a lack of innovation. But now, I guess, with all these startups now coming into the space, there is a bit of mindset shift that's happening, but it will take time. It will take even 5-10 years. So on a crisp, the biggest problem that I faced, that is, I didn't really like the thing that I was producing back then. And yeah, just to, just to be informed with the students, just for the sake of the work, I had to do a lot of things. Yeah. So
So how do you
that's,
think that you'll continue to be able to connect with the student after you're not a student?
I'm still like, I think forever, I think all of us are one. And
Great
here's the
answer.
thing. Yeah.
Great
Uh,
answer.
yeah, I mean, that's
Yep.
it. And till today, the thing is that the team, the complete investment should be on the team. Today, I have, like, we can do this podcast. If it was 2 years back, maybe I don't know what I would have been doing, because for scheduling this also, you need to put in that work. All of that goes, but at that point of time, I was very narrow, like, not narrow minded, but I would say, like, there's a word for that, like how a horse look at it, tunnel vision, to what I was trying to achieve. And today, it's all about the team. Without the team, it could not happen. And always the team, I would see that some of them are in school, so they can always relate. Because there is, yes, your questions are very, like, this question was very pertinent to a technical factor, that is like, there is a generation gap happening over 4-5 years. It keeps on happening. So is it changing? The problem is that the syllabus in Indian education, it takes a lot of time to change. So you can keep creating the same content year on year and keep the same processes, and things tend to work. So there is a sad side to this as well. But yeah, we are all students and learning, and it's not a problem.
Yeah, that's an interesting. You brought up two interesting points for me, and it's the lack of innovation and the amount of time that it takes to change a syllabus. And that's something that I've noticed in a lot of different kind of old guard type of platforms. Is everything's been working this way for so long that why change it? Because look at all we have. And then if you look at India, like look at all these people that are here, look at all of the business, like it's obviously working. However, you know, whenever you talk about that 99% not making it to that kind of next level, that just blows my mind, first off. And then secondly, whenever you're talking about 99% of people not making it, and then you have a lack of innovation on the back end, that to me is just like a recipe to continue the exact same thing moving forward. And when you're talking now, you have all of these tech companies coming in to your region and kind of giving you a different way of thinking with the ed tech and with all of that. Have you noticed that there is more acceptance of new ideas where you're at now?
Yeah, so there are two things. First, yes, there is an acceptance, because now as we like, let's say this call is happening, like I have access to the brains out there in the world. So we kind of get that access to what happens and what does not. But I can tell you this, that the privilege that I have, 80%, like I think Gary Vee made that comment about drinking water, I think some days back. And it's like you have to take take countries like India in concern. Like a lot of people do not have access to internet. They don't even have a mobile phone and all that. So they do not even, there is no option for them to accept. The poll is not there. The Twitter poll that Elon Musk has provided for his Tesla stock sale last day, someone who does not have a mobile phone cannot access it. So the problem is twofold. One is we can see that there is a divergence happening in technology, like as you mentioned, because we are going through NFTs, we are going to all this like blockchain, VR, we are bringing in all these technologies in. But there are people that do not have access to what we had maybe 20 years back. So what to do with these people? Like you cannot really keep on changing the syllabus a lot, because they at least need to understand the basic necessities, like the step, like today what we have is a stepping stone for what we are going to have tomorrow. But the problem is that they do not even have the practical things like computers as a subject, a very, very like computers, running a computer. People don't know, like the generation previous to me, a lot of people, they don't know. And even in today's generation, people don't have access to that. So how can they, use NFTs? How can they get into blockchain? The Web 2 has not come into India, even like it has come into, I mean, a lot of us, I mean, we have a lot of consumers, but there are a lot of people that are still not yet into. So there are problems that we need to work on. I think the problem is that like if we keep on changing a lot of things, a lot of people go behind, and we are unable right now to find that solution to bring everyone together. So that's a problem that we are having on a societal level. And what this brings is a lot of anger, a lot of hate from the person who does not have access to. And that's why I think we are going to see some kind of a social revolution. It's happening in a lot of countries, it's happening in. So yeah, I mean, changing the education system, it's hard, because you need to go into the depth of, into the depth of India. India is not what you look at, what we show you. There are a lot of Indias. Like I don't even know the real India right now. So I think that's the thing. So we have open minds. There are people who have the privilege, who are getting it now. So I would say the middle class is right now, there is a rise of middle class, because people know they are not getting jobs doing what they were doing in colleges. Okay, the degrees are not getting them jobs. So now there is a focus on skills. There is a focus on, okay, we need to find out where is the capital, so that we can go and hit in the points where capital is flowing to get capital, to get access to capital. But all this mindset shifts, it's not going to come, because people, like most of the people, they don't even have access to the basic education that's needed. And for that, it becomes way more difficult. And I'm sad, very sad to even share this story, that a lot of people who lead the country from, and it's very controversial, but I guess it's a known fact that a lot of people who are in leading positions, they do not even have the basic education. So how can we expect people pleasers to be best at something? Like a lot of people over here, they want to please people for, for power. And I think it happens, politicians, it keeps on happening. So yeah, I mean, it's sad. And there are a lot of things that is hard to, change. And these are some of the reasons.
Yeah, and that's something interesting that you bring up is the perspective to know that, and even where I'm at in the United States, I know right in my backyard, I'm on this app. It's called Nextdoor, and it broke my heart. I wake up this morning and like probably most of my listeners out there, I look at my phone and I'm scrolling through my messages and I go to this app. It's called Nextdoor, and the woman says on there, she goes, "Where do I go to get help for Thanksgiving and Christmas?" I don't have, I mean, it's almost bringing a tear to my eye right now. It's like, she doesn't have access she's trying to sell things in her house just to have access for groceries and for food and for small gifts for her children. And, you know, we're in the same zip code, she and I, and I'm not beyond, wealthy by any means, but I have my basic necessities. And that's what puts it in perspective for me. Cause I come from nothing. I come from a small farm town, but I had a few people in my life similar to you that were able to, lift me up and keep me coming along here. And, understanding that those people are out there and trying to give back while progressing in your own respect, I think is something that I've recently come across where I'm like, yes, just because there are other people who are less well off than I am doesn't mean that I should stop doing what I'm doing to progress, and but that was something that I struggled with, because I was like, well, how dare I, come and tell people what's out there, like with the blockchain and NFT technology, when they're struggling to figure out what they're going to do for food. Because whenever you talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I don't know if you're familiar, with
I do.
Maslow, but if you don't have your basic needs, you can't even educate, you can't learn new things because you're just trying to eat, you're just trying to survive. But if the more people that we can get out of survival mentality and into that next level, ultimately trying to get to the self-actualization that we all try and get to, it's so rewarding though to assist those folks who, because you and I are no different than they are. Like we have same brains, we have the same everything, same eyes, ears, whatever. We're no different. So we could just as easily be those people, and being humble enough to accept that and then bring them along with us. And that's why I'm so big on education, because yes, it may be in books, but it can also be an apprenticeship where you're learning a skill. And I think both of those have a place in our society, to help others come out of that lowest level of survival, so we can build together and actually do some big things in this world. I'm curious where you're at with that in your journey. I mean, you may be young, but you're very well versed, and just listening to you speak about some of the deep thoughts that you're having about society and that introspective piece, especially for India, because I have no idea, but you do. I'm curious if you feel the same way, or if do you feel that same way?
I do. I think so. I think people have different ideologies about the same, but I mean, we always need to grow. I mean, there is no other alternative of not growing, because if we don't change, we also know that if we are not with the pace that the world is going through, even we are going to be back there. I think there is a good video on YouTube where life is explained in 27 seconds, and you need to keep on running on I think it's a conveyor belt, and you need to keep on running else you go back. And the going back is not like in terms of wealth and all that. I think wealth comes, it's very important. I think it's a matter, but it's not just that. Other than that, the problem is not that like they even want to know. It's not that they don't want to know. As you said, they need the basic necessities. And the thing is that I think today there are good people coming up who are trying to help. It's just that we have to make that a bit louder. So from a societal level, but on a personal level, I guess my mind, like there's a lot of negativity and positivity over there. And I guess we have to choose positivity and need to keep growing. Else we are not going to sustain for ourselves. So although you're selfless, you're the most selfless person, but if you are not a bit selfish enough to just be on that and learn, then you won't make it for yourself. So your family, they are also important to you. So I think that matters. And I'm a person who wants to grow, and want to, like, as we, like, if we can do something in our life that can make that one life better, that would be amazing. The thing is that a lot of people don't get it today. And
Yes.
no, I mean, I have nothing, like, it's very hard to change those brains today. Because again, they look it from, so there are half glass empty and half glass full. I'm pretty much like a half glass full person, where, you know, more can happen all the time. And we can, I think, make, like, we are solving a lot of problems by bringing in blockchain. We are always solving certain problems. Like if you look at 1800, people used to have different problems back then, but we are bringing in new things from there, which is helping a lot of people. And then of course we will always keep on having problems. I think problems are a part. We have to accept that. And yeah, I mean, even helping, like as you said, being growing myself and trying to help others. That's, we share the same mindset over there.
Yeah, I definitely think that. And I love that what you said there. And I've said this a couple times before. I don't know if I've ever said it on the podcast, but you have to be selfish to be selfless. Like, you just can't be selfless all the time, because you don't end up progressing. You don't end up, growing as a person. If you're constantly being selfless, you have to be selfish too, and take time for yourself and all of those things. Like, just like today, working out and making sure that my body's healthy so I can continue to move on. Because, if you're not healthy, guess what? You're out of business. Your business shuts down. So that's something that is very important to me. And that's a selfish thing. It takes time away from everything else. Everything else stops so I can do that. But again, it goes back to, what are you dedicated to? And I'm dedicated to making sure I'm healthy so I can be selfless at some point, so I can give back. Because just as you've said, having that understanding that it's not always about the wealth. It's sometimes just about being a positive influence. And maybe that's enough sometimes. Maybe I don't have to really educate anything. It's just being present and being available, and holding that space. So I appreciate that so much. Is there anything else that you would like to get across about Quizzy EdTech? Anything that you want to talk to our listeners about in particular?
Yeah, so I guess we will be talking about what we are trying to do. And the biggest thing, so the thing is right now, as we have, and this is the thing, the wealth part of it. Like, I mean, I am not a kind of a person that would keep on, like, I'm not Gary Vee, and I understand this a bit right now as well, because Gary Vee has extreme patience to build what he has been, like, to grow a particular company. You need to be doing very boring things all the time, and you have to keep on doing it consistently over years and keep on getting in more clients for more revenues, all of that. The thing is over here is like, as we have already surpassed that level, we understand what the problems are. Like, we will be talking about that, and especially we will be unlocking a lot new problems that we want to solve. But I am particularly not a person who would be running a business to gain more money for profits, like just more business, more profits, more business. It's a part of, like, yes, but I want to, and Simon Sinek won't like me on this. Like, I want to make some impact. That's the kind of feeling that I have. Like, that's where I come from. And yeah, I mean, that gives us a good segue to what we might be discussing later on. And we will be understanding this particular answer back then, that what we are trying to do. But it's more about not doing this. Like, I have been doing the same thing for 3 years, which is nothing. Like, people have been doing for 30 years. But I know that this market, Indian market, to a very big extent, it's covered. And right now, yes, I had the option of going into a different country. I even had calls with very huge companies which are serving different markets. But it was that feeling that, no, something different this time, because I have that age to fail. I get that age thing. Yes, it's a bit of ageism, is never good, but I have no problems in learning. And this, I'm very grateful for being able to do certain things a bit early in life. And because that gives me good time later on to, because I'm healthy. Like, we are at our best shape when we are in 20s, 30s. Like, though you can do a lot of workouts, you know this better. People have to retire from sports at the age of 35, 36, depends on the sport. But people have to do that. Their body does not like you can be to a certain level till you're 35, 36. So right now the energy that you have, of course, you can feel that in 40, 42 mentally, which might be good enough for entrepreneurship. But yeah, I don't know what 40s is going to go like. I just take it day by day. And yeah,
Live
very,
like
very
you're gonna
happy
die
to.
tomorrow. A
That's a
little
bit
bit.
crazy, yeah. That's a bit crazy, yeah. Because again, if we think that we're gonna die tomorrow, I think we won't be doing this podcast today.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
might be
more
doing
like
something a little bit on the bucket list, I guess, huh?
maybe, yeah, just maybe, just take my parents out somewhere and, like just giving like what they have done. I'll just, have some time out with them, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I guess I lost on a very good thing I was about to say. That is, yeah, I mean, it just skipped my mind a bit. So yeah,
Yeah, you
let's
were
move
just
on. I
saying that
think,
you wanted to make an impact, and that's something that I think is honorable of you. You know, you're an innovator in a space that is just brinking on this on the level of innovation that I think is bound to happen. And I love something that you said. You said unlocking new problems. It's like whenever you talk about unlocking something, is usually in a light of positivity. However, you can take new problems as positivity, but I love the comment. So I wanted to draw attention to that. And then where can our listeners find more about what you have going on? Where can they follow you at and just continue on your journey?
yeah, so I think, if you want to follow me, I'm very active on Twitter. So yeah, I mean, that's the best place. And yeah, I mean, the Twitter handle that can be there.
Okay.
You can reach out to me on Twitter. I think that's all right, because other platforms, other socials, I just keep it a bit private. So yeah, Twitter is all good. Other than that, yeah, I mean, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I don't know, like a lot of these NFT projects founders, I don't know how they shill on me on Instagram, like Instagram requests. I just open my Instagram and I see some 4 or 5 projects coming on the request. So yeah, people reach out, like you can reach out to me if you have something.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, unlocking new problems. Yeah, I think there are always problems. We just need to look at them and solve them. Uh, that's
I
what we
love
can
that.
do the best.
That's it. That's it. We don't bellyache about them. We don't complain about them. We just figure them out and we solve them. So, all right, guys, thank you. Thank you for listening so far. And Hiran, thank you so much for coming on. I, you know, I knew whenever I saw what you had going on that this conversation was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. You have such a unique perspective on life and on business and helping others that even the recent comment that you made, if you were going to die tomorrow, you wouldn't be having this podcast. You'd be with your family, and that's something that that obviously shows what you're really dedicated to is making them proud, but also doing it in your own way. So kudos to you. I appreciate you, man. And this won't be the last time. I hope that we come on the call. So
Yeah, just one, I think, guess before we end, I guess we are missing the biggest point, right? Like the
yeah, go for
unlocking
it.
new problems. Yeah. So like we have a new foray coming for Quizzy that is called Quizzy NFTs, of course, called QUIN Quinn. So there are some problems that we're solving. So please, listeners, 2 minutes. I won't take more than that.
Go for it.
So yeah. So what it is all about is when you look at the Web2 space, today's space, all these platforms that we were talking about for all this time, they have been they have been buying out a lot of individual creators channels. Like a good teacher, if you have a good distribution on YouTube, let's say 100,000 followers or 1 million subscribers, something like that, all these platforms are just buying out, giving them a sense of economics, which makes sense to them. You are getting paid like a lot of money for having that subscription. But then the problem is that all these creators, they lose their individuality over when they're creating content for platforms. So the biggest difference is this, because when you are running as a creator, what you have is maybe, you just get this YouTube AdSense revenues, nothing more than that. So what we are trying to do, so Quizzy NFTs, like we are going to give out around 1,000 NFTs. Like the Discord has not even launched yet because it's very early. There's a thread on that. So what we are planning to do is create like the creators who have good distribution. We are going to create communities for them, because a good and launch the NFT projects where all the students that are going to learn from them are going to get access to that educator, of course, and that will make a better sense of economics for the creator to keep creating themselves and not subjugating themselves to a platform. So that's, I believe that's what it is very important. Other than that, even from a student's perspective, it is like if you are paying some money to a platform, what essentially happens is a platform will give you 500 teachers or 1,000 teachers will give access to a lot of content. But if you are studying, you know that there are these 3-4 educators that you love and you want to learn from them. So why do you pay for the overall platform where you can learn from these creators and pay less money to these creators? Because these creators will get paid more at the end of the day, because they're going to get money from all the students, like by their NFTs. So students can, the cost for students can go a bit less. They learn about NFTs, they learn about the community, and the creators, the most important part is they get a new way of monetizing their distribution by providing value they want to provide. Today, they do not have an opportunity to do that other than to, make an advertisement for a company that has access to capital and creating content. So that's essentially what we are building. And that's the change that we're talking about. These are the new problems, like the unlocking new problems, because they are here. And yeah, I guess we were about to miss this. I think this is the most important part.
Yeah. Can I ask you something then? How would, say, myself or our project NF Daddies, because what we're trying to accomplish is called NFT Academy. And what we're actually launching our very first module next Sunday. And we're having a live event where we're going to have people call in on like a Zoom call, very similar to this. And we've created content to explain the blockchain and explain cryptocurrency and the wallet and be able to onboard them and create a MetaMask at the end of it. How would we get involved with Quizzy in that platform?
Okay. So again, then I'm going to go a bit out of the genre, right? Because again, we were it's part of the EdTech you're educating. But let's say about your podcast, or I'm sorry, like the NFT Academy, if I got that right?
Yeah, NFD.
Yes.
NFD as an
NFT, yeah, daddy.
Yeah,
Got it. So firstly, see, the biggest part for any brand would be distribution, right? Now for NFD, like the best part about being in the VFriends community or even, in the NFT space is people help each other. So, you will get always new distribution coming in from people. But it's very important, like you understand the game well, like you are already in the Discord, you understand the game well. So having a very good Discord, then of course, giving those perks, like having those channels, conducting Zoom calls, having different teams built. So like you have to have those sessions at certain points of, like at certain times in week, then maybe some daily session. So of course, it's very hard for one person to do and manage it all if you're trying to grow it. Essentially, that's where like Quizzy comes into the play. So let's say distribution, as in, let's say over here, NF Daddies might be like, it's a very different type. Because when I'm bringing a creator from the Web2 space who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, this person already has an established distribution. So now what we need from there is to funnel, like they won't know how to create that NFT project that you know today. Okay, so getting over that space, maybe we will be just creating a NFT draw for them on Polygon, because in India, gas fees, it's very hard. Like Ethereum gas right now, it's very expensive. Of course, Ethereum's going expensive. So, bringing these new people in the space, educating them about the space, and even having all these different channels, maintaining schedule of when, like who is in, like who has what kind of access, then when what is going to happen. Like managing it for the person, because it's very hard for an individual creator to do that. And the biggest difference in the Web2 and Web3 over here is that, okay, a teacher can come, like with the distribution, they can come and tell me, I have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Why do NFT drop? I can just launch my course. Now over here, it changes, like Web3 changes it for the students, because in Web2, if you buy a course or purchase a course, you won't be able to resell it to anyone. It's done. Like you bought it, you don't like it, you like maybe you have a 30 days or 60 days money back or things like that, but it's done. But in Web3, and here is the thing, that's why you need the distribution. And that's why it's so important. That is, you build a secondary market. If you have 100,000 subscribers, just give 1,000 NFTs, 1,500 NFTs, 2,000 NFTs, so that these 2,000 people have that other 98,000 people to share that value, to resell that if they don't like it. So you get a secondary market to get out maybe, and it depends, like it will depend on every creator. If the creator is not good, people won't have that. thing, but doing all that together is something where it becomes very hectic for one person. So yeah, that's where we come to play, like bringing them to the space, bringing the students to the space. Like they don't know how to create that MetaMask and all that as well. And then after that, going to that value part, that is, are they getting the proper education? As we have connect with educators, we will be able to even provide content from our side if the educators need that. So from the drop, community building, then of course to managing it on a day-to-day scale is what we are going to do. So it's
Love that.
that's what it's going to be all about.
Okay. I'm going to shoot you over some information on the side channel then, and I'm going to get your take on it. So, all right. You heard it, guys. Look out for it. Quizzy NFT. It's coming for you. And I think it's going to do amazing things, especially for not only your immediate surroundings, but in a global impact. So thank you so much again for coming on. This will not be the last time. We're going to have you on again. As always, guys, enjoy the journey. Take care. Have a good day. Thank you so much for sticking here until the very, very end. If you wouldn't mind just leaving a comment or subscribing or liking the podcast or wherever you downloaded this, maybe it was from YouTube, I would love for that. And take an extra couple seconds to give us some more love. Even though you have listened here to the very, very end, we appreciate that so much. Could you also go over to thestarspodcast.com if you found any of this really interesting and you wanted to dive in a little bit further? Or go to our Discord, which is Rocinante Studios NFT. Enjoy the journey.